Since Overwatch 2 just has no business having that 2 at the end of its title anymore. And alongside that, plenty of memes coming in. Somebody here comparing the situation.
See how Blizzard's dealing with the recent controversies.
So news about the cancellation of Overwatch 2's PvE mode has spread far and wide at this point, and for good reason. It's just really disappointing news given that it was the mode that was going to justify
big L.
the 2 in the title Overwatch 2, because the PvP mode just doesn't quite do so. Like, yes, they added some new stuff and they did change some things, but does it really feel like...
Oh my god, hold on chat, someone's breaking into my house.
Stuff, and they did change some things, but does it really feel like a full-fledged sequel to Overwatch 1? Not really.
God,
the
no.
PvE mode actually felt like something new and exciting and substantial, and now the mode is fully scrapped, and instead PvE is being split up into a bunch of live service updates, essentially. And yes, there are story missions that are going to be released in piecemeal fashion, but it's just not the same as that one big, substantial campaign-like experience.
Yeah, they're literally just like all the stuff they've done so far, which I'm guessing is not a lot. They're just sprinkling. They're like seasoning Overwatch 2 with it here and there, just as like little events. It's shit. It's such a big L, but
that one big release that we were originally supposed to get, stuff like this has been scrapped entirely. The selection of talents, a long-term progression system for heroes, things like this, the talent tree that would allow you to customize the play styles of...
Like, this is such a good idea. When I saw the trailer, this was like the main thing. I was like, yes, perfect. This is what I want from Overwatch, like single player, like PvE stuff. There's customizable skill trees. Every character can be spec'd differently. Like, this looks so cool. And it's just, it didn't exist. It was an April Fool's. Got him.
Of your heroes, and also give them some really cool enhancements and boosts that'd be well suited for the kind of PvE experience that was originally being developed. And all of this was relayed by developers of Overwatch 2.
You watch this?
The brief summary, as relayed here by CarQ, is Overwatch 2 update from the dev chat. Original PvE vision from 2019 is no more. Talent tree scrapped, and there will be no standalone version. It's just little bits of PvE, such as mission stories released with each PvP season as part of their live service. And you can see right here the kind of traction that this news has garnered, with over 30,000 likes already and over 21 million views. And this is just a single tweet. There are plenty of others with millions of views and tens of thousands of likes that express similar sentiments of disappointment. And going on Metacritic right now, you can see that the user score is starting to suffer further because there's a new wave of negative reviews.
Holy shit.
To
Negative is at 2.6. Holy shit. I like the 132 people that were like, I don't know, it's alright, I guess. Dude, this is bad. This doesn't look good. The third most discussed game of 2022. Dude, that's gotta change. This is horrible, man. I was optimistic, not anymore. Rip Overwatch killed. Rip Overwatch killed by Overwatch 2. Man, this is depressing. Oh, God.
Suffer further because there's a new wave of negative reviews because people are peeved that they're not going to get what was promised. And I've already shown plenty of tweets of people talking about what a terrible situation this is, that all of this cool stuff is being scrapped and the PvE mode is now being gutted to bulk out the free-to-play battle pass system. Plenty of people expressing woes about just how mismanaged and mishandled Overwatch is as an IP. And plenty of people are pointing out that the entire reason for Overwatch 2 existing, the thing that was going to justify its sequel label, has been completely scrapped.
Yeah, the PvE was like the main selling point, but I generally think they done it so they could monetize more of the game. I think that was like the backbones. It wasn't about making a new game. I generally think it was just about, okay, people don't like the loot boxes, like the loot box laws and stuff were coming through. A lot of countries were like just saying no to it. I think Overwatch 2 was literally just, we need to re-release and monetize as much as possible. That's not loot boxes. And we'll add a day-night cycle to maps, why not?
Since Overwatch 2 just has no business having that 2 at the end of its title anymore. And alongside that, plenty of memes coming in. Somebody here comparing the situation.
This needs to be changed. They need to have like all the heroes from Overwatch 1 here, and then do the same here with the new heroes, but like cross out Bastion and, and Torbjorn.
Mr. Krabs opened up Krusty Krab 2, and it's just basically Krusty Krab 1 with a 2 label. Others have equated this situation to this Eric Andre meme. We're excited to finally share PvE news with you. Here is Dead Overwatch 2. Shoots Dead Overwatch 2. There isn't any. Here's somebody else who's deeply disappointed, stating here that Blizzard has never let us down like this before. And here's the thing, Blizzard has let us down plenty of times in months and years past. But this feels like just a whole other level. And all of these memes are garnering tens of thousands of likes, hundreds of thousands of views, as you can see right here. So, yeah, this is definitely a major topic of conversation this week. Here's somebody else who went as far as to say that the Overwatch community is in shambles. And here is the Peaky Blinders meme of Cillian Murphy just in utter despair. Yeah, the Overwatch community has been through a lot. Adding insult to injury is the fact that leadership at Blizzard knew that the mode would be scrapped months ago, but only disclosed that information now. And so a lot of people felt like they were being dragged by the nose all this time. Overwatch 2 director Aaron Keller admitted to GameSpot that as we were running up to launching Overwatch 2, we realized that we could not build that other game. So we made a decision later last year that we would focus all of our efforts on the live running game and all of our PvE efforts on this new story arc that we're launching in Season 6. The decision was made later last year. For at least half a year, they've known that the PvE mode that was promised,
So it's been like, what, 6 months? That they knew that they were cancelling and they just stopped doing work on it. And with owning Alpha, that makes it so much worse. Like, I remember seeing tweets of people still, like, hyping up the PvE. I don't know if they were actually, like, working at Blizzard or not, or, like, if they were just fans and stuff, but god damn. It's just a nothing sandwich. we realize we have all these promises and we just we can't do them. Should we tell them now? Nah, it's funnier if we don't. Dude, this is terrible. This is literally like sitting down with like your mum and dad and being like, they're just like, okay, we need to tell you something. There's no Father Christmas. We gave you the presents. The world is a boring and dull place. Actually, I think this is worse. This is on like a massive scale. This unicorn that was PvE, it doesn't exist. I'm sorry. We're gonna have groups of people out in the forests like Bigfoot looking for the PvE. They'll be so sure it exists.
flagship mode that was going to justify the 2 in Overwatch 2 would be scrapped, but it wasn't until now that they decided to disclose that information. A combination of all of these factors has meant that there's been plenty of backlash against Activision Blizzard, and generally developers...
Jared must be getting... His inbox must be fucking exploding right now. Like, he must be getting so much hate. Oh, man. Like... Other than the timing, I think it was handled the best way they could do it, cancelling it, like coming out in the open and just sort of say it's dead and then moving on. But the fact that it took them 6 months, and like, we will find out. We always find out. You can't hide that shit. But this guy is, he's gonna get crucified.
Knew that this was gonna frustrate a lot of players, but Jared News, executive producer of Overwatch 2, wanted to make some clarifications and respond to some of the backlash that Blizzard has been receiving, and here's what he had to tweet. A clarification that I wanted to make is that while we made the decision to cut Hero Mode plus Talents, we have a lot of great PvE content coming this year. But we didn't want PvE content served piecemeal in episodic fashion over the long term. We wanted one big giant release that would encompass an experience that feels essentially like a whole campaign with story content, with cooperative elements, with progression systems for all of these different heroes. That was the promise. That was what got people excited for Overwatch 2. Sure, we're going to get some form of PvE content now integrated into the PvP live service, but
and I think it was confirmed that it wouldn't be content free to like everyone. I can't remember if there was anything like officially stated. This might be just me, spreading rumors, but I think you have to have the battle pass to attend some of these like PvE events. So, yeah. One small piece per week if you've got a battle pass. Like, if that's true, that's a, oh my god. Like, I love Overwatch, and I won't even do that. It actually makes me not want to get the battle pass more. I would rather have spent the like full retail price of like 60 quid and get the full experience. I don't want to be spending, and the money works out when you spend like, was it like, I don't know what the actual like Battle Blizzard dollars are, but it's like 10 quid a month for the battle pass. Over the course of a year, they're making bank. You don't get what we promised, also fuck you, give us money. Overwatch V-Bucks, that's it, that's what it's called.
But it doesn't change the fact that the more enticing original vision, that's what's being scrapped, and that's what people are gonna miss. This right here just seems like a far more scaled down version. In fact, game director Aaron Keller, when speaking to GameSpot, straight up said it's tough when games change or when things are reduced in scope. Now, Jared News still promises that the PvE content will be substantial with big story missions, new cinematics, co-op events, and single-player hero mastery missions. But this just feels like the PvE experience has lost many of the marquee features that people got excited, then chopped up into a bunch of pieces, and those pieces are going to be sprinkled in every couple weeks, every couple months, and it's just not going to have the same effect as one giant epic piece of PvE content that players can immerse themselves in and play as if it were one continuous experience. No matter how positively Jared tries to paint this picture, it doesn't change the fact that
yeah, Junie, it's a real kick of the balls to everyone apart from the PvP community. I agree and disagree. I was looking forward to the PvE. I would have loved the skill trees and doing like the missions and stuff and like hopping on with you guys and playing some stuff. It would have been fun. But it wouldn't stop me playing the PvP. It just validates Overwatch 2 existing for me. Without it, it's just Overwatch 1, and it means we went like a year without, was it more than a year without any content for Overwatch 1 because they were working on Overwatch 2. Then come to Overwatch 2 and it's not even quite to the standard of Overwatch 1, and they're slowly getting back to that. It just, having that on the horizon made it worth it. I'm not saying it would have made it the best game ever, but it would have validated it. Now it's just like, what a waste of time. You let that game die for no reason other than to re-release the game with a slightly better engine, and that's it. They were doing new characters, they were doing new maps, like it was all the same stuff. We actually got less. Like, they haven't even fixed the fire system yet. Like, such a simple little mechanic. It's oh my god, I hate it. More PvE man myself. I never touched Destiny's Crucible mode though. Like, yeah, that's a good comparison. I would have thought it would have been like Destiny. That's what I was excited for. Being able to play these games, like, not necessarily like building up a character, but like speccing a character to work, better on certain maps. Stuff like that was interesting. But yeah, just Blizzard can't do it.
We're ultimately getting a far more diminished, a far more downsized, far more scaled back version of what we were looking forward to, and that's just not a nice feeling. But you know who does give off good vibes and good feelings and wouldn't do us dirty like this? Keanu Reeves, which is why I hung him up on my wall here, which brings us to the sponsor of today's video, Displayed. This is a company that's focused on...
I thought that was going to be... It brings us to my sponsor, Keanu Reeves. Pulls him out. Hi. You're breathtaking.
Anyway, back to Jared's tweets here. After making this clarification, Jared continued by stating, I also want to acknowledge that today has been a challenging day for many of us in the Overwatch community, players and developers alike. We understand that today's news about the scope of PvE is frustrating. We on the Overwatch leadership team didn't make the decision lightly. I really do feel for the devs. They are probably more heartbroken than the players are because they actually worked on this thing. They poured their hearts and souls and time into this. They've been spending so long on what was an exciting prospect, only for all their work to be for naught. And now they got to deal with a community who they know are extremely disappointed by all of this. And not to say that the players' sentiments don't matter, but developers are also hurting, no doubt. The folks who this was not up to. You know, a lot of the developers are just doing what they're told. Ultimately, it's the captain of the ship who decided to steer the ship into an iceberg and then decide, you know what,
Yeah, I agree that, yeah, the developers are probably hurting quite a bit, but I remember I can't remember if this was if someone's clipped this. I can't find it. But yeah,
let's
cancel
it's not
good.
This excursion altogether. Let's cut the PVE. That was not up to the vast majority of the developers. That was all leadership decisions and managerial errors. Just piss poor
100%.
leadership and an egregious lack of foresight that led to a wasted opportunity and a lot of wasted time and artistry. Jared tries to end this thread on a positive note by saying that we love the world of Overwatch and have many new stories to tell. Moving in this direction gives us confidence that we can tell those stories, albeit in a different way that we originally communicated. Our next Director's Take blog will be out on Friday with more context. All due respect, the confidence of Blizzard leadership means absolutely nothing now because that confidence and optimism has proven to be completely unreliable. Overwatch leadership showed similar signs of confidence and optimism for the PvE mode that they were developing that would justify the 2 in Overwatch 2. And look how that turned out. How can they expect that anyone will ever take Blizzard leadership at their word ever again? How can they expect that people won't approach Blizzard announcements and promises with a lot more caution, with the mentality of, I'll believe it when I see it? And
yeah, and which I think is a good way to do these sort of events. I mean, we need to get past the whole when they do like these announcements, being like, "Oh yeah, this could be amazing." We need to go in a lot more grounded. Just go in with like all right, they'll probably fuck this up. Let's see, and then just be surprised, like pleasantly surprised with when they actually like follow through. But after the whole Diablo Immortal stuff and some of the stuff with Diablo 4, I don't trust them at all with anything. Like if they were to buy another IP or make a new IP, I wouldn't trust it. There's something going on internally that's not great.
That goes doubly true when you consider that Blizzard leadership knew that PvE would be scrapped for months now and only told us recently. Here's a Twitter user calling this out. So your clarification is basically stated, we knew for a while this was the case, but we lied and bait and switched our community to think what was actually marketed was still coming. Here's somebody else expressing similar sentiments in more patient words. I feel like this should have been communicated at the launch of Overwatch 2 or around that time. Overwatch 2 did launch towards the end of last year, and it was stated by Aaron Keller that they made the decision to scrap PvE later last year. So they knew when Overwatch 2 launched or just a little after that
like, that's
PvE
around beta
was
time.
an impossible task, or at least in the shape and form that was originally promised. And they kept that from the entire gaming community. Here's one more just for good measure. I just wish we were told sooner and with more information on what to expect from the current iteration of the PvE. Open communication goes such a long way. Blizzard leadership tout that they want it to be transparent. That's where they're putting this information out there.
But it's too late. It's too late. Like, if they came out and just said, like, okay, guys, we're struggling with the PvE, like, months ago, we're going to put it on the back burner, or try and ease it in just to say, like, oh, we don't know if we can do a full-fledged release. We're going to try, just so you guys get some content, we're going to take some of what we've already made and sprinkle it in, like they're going to do anyway. Like, the plan that they obviously had from the start. But if they do it in that scenario, the community would be more like, okay, rather than you just taking away something we want, will be more in the sense of like, hey, you know, they're giving us something, let's take it. Rather than for months not telling us anything and then just being like, oh, by the way, cutting the PvE and hey.
Hi, it's me, B Lizard, CEO of Blizzard, and I'm here today to tell you about our new release, called Totally Real and Good Product. We will definitely deliver on it, I promise.
Just maybe not the good product part. But yeah, if we just come out and just said it in that sense, I think the community would have been a lot more like understanding. We'll be like, okay, content's content, thank you. And then we'd move on. And then eventually they could just say, look, we've been putting the content into the PvP. This is working. We're going to keep doing this going forward. And it would be a better approach than just saying it's not happening. but we like new stuff. We like to make new stuff. We like the community, but also fuck you. We love you, but you're an asshole. Stop buying our products, but please buy our products because we have battle passes and skins. Like, it's just miscommunication. It's not great.
But not only did they try to make this announcement a lot more low-key by putting it in not as prominent part of their recent stream and presentation of what's coming up with Overwatch 2, but the fact that it took them so many months to tell us what they've known for months, you know, that is just a lack of transparency. That selective transparency that is as good as being opaque. Now, I'm very curious to see what information investigations will yield. Jason Schreier, who's a prominent reporter and investigative journalist, is already on it. He tweeted earlier today on May 17th, 2023, "I'll be reporting plenty on Overwatch 2 in the future, but for now, maintaining a live service game is hard enough without building a totally new game on top, which is hard enough without constant company crises, which is hard enough without massive attrition. Worth some empathy."
I get what he's saying, but that's not what happened. They stopped supporting Overwatch 1 to build Overwatch 2 and to make the PVE, which you'd assume if they're just going to copy and paste from Overwatch 1, the PVE would have been a massive priority and they would have spent the most time on that. So no, I don't agree with this. Yes, running a live service game is hard, but they didn't have to do that. They stopped doing that for like a year, and then because they like money, they released Overwatch 2 early. So they're just back in the same situation. It's the biggest like ball dropping in like since I've like been into like Blizzard stuff. It's I generally don't know what to say about it, to be honest. I don't agree with Jason. If it was just a live service like company that would like constantly, like if Apex was trying to make a single player campaign, I would give that more sympathy because they keep doing content for Apex. Like every other week there's an event or there's some sort of different playlist or there's new content, and yes, skins, they love skins all the time. They do community based stuff. It's always evolving, it's always changing. I get that they couldn't do a single player game on top of that. Overwatch died for a year with no content other than just rehashing of old events with skins where they've just changed the color.
Now, a lot of people are misinterpreting this tweet as Jason Schreier saying that we should have empathy for the corporation, the executives, and the leadership mismanagement that screwed everything up. What he's saying here is that it's hard for the developers who don't make the decisions that lead to the ruination of projects. Like the developers who trusted their captains and followed their leads are hurting as much, if not more, than the players are. And no doubt they're very disappointed by this outcome, and it just sucks for them too. Now, one good point that Jason Schreier brings up that might be a potential contributor to how Overwatch 2's PvE mode fell apart is that between 2018 and 2022, and during the development of Overwatch 2's PvE hero mode, both the director and executive producer of the original game left the company, referring to the fact that on September of 2021, Overwatch executive producer Chaco Sony left Blizzard Entertainment, and more prominently, the one and only Overwatch game director Jeff Kaplan left Blizzard back in April of 2021. On top of that, former Blizzard employees have very publicly hinted that executive decisions from the likes of CEO Bobby Kotick, among others, has led to significant wasted development time and significant stalling of Overwatch development and significant detrimental effects to the entire Overwatch development ecosystem. And I'm sure there are plenty of other factors at play that will reveal themselves when investigations are concluded, but I have little doubt that at the very least those are pieces to this big puzzle of how...
Oh yeah, no doubt. Like, Jeff and Sonny leaving has definitely hurt development. I do not doubt that. Jeff like treated this as like a child. It was his baby. But I bet he's as pissed off as we are right now, to be honest. And we're not blaming the developers. I'm not going to go find a coder's house and scream at them. Like, it's just Blizzard as a whole. There's been so many controversies, so many issues with like the Activision Blizzard brand, and that's what we're upset about. I'm not like, because Jared came out and is the spokesperson of saying like, all right, we fucked up. He's going to get a lot of hate. I feel like that is wrong. But as a company, Blizzard deserves this. They deserve some of the hate. They ain't doing it, chat. They're not one of the good ones. Going to fight Blizzard. Why do you decide to release the second Overwatch right now next to the original? I like money. Money's cool. Again, it's the monetization. Yes, we should cuddle. We should cuddle, Alex, right now. Come here.
How did Overwatch 2's flagship marquee PvE mode crumble so disastrously? It's also worth noting that compared to other teams within Blizzard, the Overwatch team is smaller. Jason Schreier made it a point to highlight that, as far as he knows, the World of Warcraft team, for example, has always been much bigger than the Overwatch team, and creating a whole new mode that plays completely differently from the PvP with a PvE mode. You know, that was a tall order that clearly required a lot more manpower and resources that the developers of Overwatch just didn't have. And leadership's inability to predict the scope of this project, their inability to have the foresight necessary to not announce something so major publicly before pulling the rug from under many players who are so highly anticipating the PvE mode, you know, that's a miserable failure in leadership. Already we're seeing people on Reddit, for example, respond to Jared News's response to the backlash and his clarification on things. And we've got people saying things like they needed to announce the removal of the original PvE vision at the same time as showcasing some of the new content. If you ask me, they should have announced that the original version of the PvE wasn't happening the second they knew months ago, late last year. But if they were going to announce months later, at the very least, have something to show that gives us some clue as to what the new version of PvE looks like. This new version that, again, is going to be served piecemeal and almost like episodic nature throughout the course of the live service run of Overwatch 2. I have little doubt that it's going to be vastly inferior and vastly scaled down and vastly less feature complete than the original version.
It's going to be exactly like the events we had in Overwatch 1. Guarantee it. Like the Uprise and stuff, it would just be doing a map again, some extra areas in the map, getting to the end of the point. It's always going to be there. I guarantee you there won't be cutscenes. There'll just be like the standard stuff that we've got like in the Halloween events where it's just a little like 5-second little clip of Junkrat saying something funny. It's going to be the same thing. I think this was the plan from the start, to be honest. They're going to do the same shit and charge more for it.
But at the very least, giving us some kind of clue as to what this new version looks like. And if it does look good enough, it might give people some ease of mind. But apparently this Friday, we're going to find out more about the new vision, the change in direction for PvE. And they say change in direction. Let's not kid ourselves. This is a diminishing of the original version. It is a scaled down version of what was originally promised. This user finishes off with, instead they announce the PvE vision is dead, and they show us a whole bunch of things coming that we know absolutely nothing about. Moving further down, they knew at launch that PvE wasn't going to be in the game, yet they advertised it and used it to bring up numbers. Plenty of people are highlighting.
Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting. Like, time frame wise, they knew this at the launch of it, like officially launched, not like the beta. They knew it wasn't happening, but they used it so much in the advertisements. Like, that first battle pass was like, you get the PvE when it comes out. Like, how cool was that? Ah, dude. Shit. Oh, this is bad.
This, I do agree that that's incredibly scummy, and I have little doubt that they did this knowing the negative PR that this would cause and the potential negative impact that would have on Overwatch 2 sales while the iron was still hot, because Overwatch 2 didn't launch that long ago, just a couple months ago, and they wanted to drive sales as much as possible before dropping this bombshell of a bad news that could potentially drive players away from making an Overwatch 2 purchase. This all feels very much calculated, and I don't know how far up the chain of command this order goes to delay the announcement of the scrapping of the PvE mode that was originally promised. But beyond the timing of their announcement, it's the way they announced it made it such a low-key aspect of their overall recent presentation. This user highlighted how I personally freaking hated how they tried to slip the news in the middle of a live stream like it somehow wasn't the main topic of discussion.
They're like, oh yeah, we love Overwatch. Overwatch is cool. They done like a little history lesson, didn't they? And then, about like all the cool shit they were gonna do in Overwatch 2. They're like, the PvP isn't happening. Anyway, Star Watch. the event currently going on. Isn't it dope, right? Buy the battle pass.
And the culmination of all of these different factors is that a lot of goodwill has been lost for this user. The goodwill is just gone, even if the stuff they show on Friday, even if some of that stuff looks pretty good. They knew over a year ago there was not going to be anywhere close to the promised PvE content and still went full steam ahead promoting it like nothing changed. And I think these are all perfectly fair sentiments and criticisms for people to express. Beyond that, people on Reddit are posting videos that highlight the lost potential of Overwatch 2's PvE. Like this right here is a clip of Donkey talking about what could have been.
Donkey called this, right?
All of these different types of enemies, like the fly guy and the bomb doggy and the smoker. There's a little clip of Lucio blasting robots into the side of the wall. They show this badass technology where you can shoot robots into each other. You can shoot the legs off of a robot. They're saying there's going to be 100 different co-op missions. There's a lot to get excited about, and it's getting easier now to imagine the incredible game Overwatch 2 could be.
Yeah.
If only, right, chat? Oh, man. God damn.
Once upon a time when people had hope for Overwatch 2. And the sad thing about all of this is that the engine that Overwatch 2 runs on is an overhauled version of 1 that was specifically tailored around allowing the developers to make this PvE experience. They overhauled the engine specifically so that they could make this kind of PvE mode that was very different from the PvP mode. And all of those engine adjustments and...
So yeah, chat, in case you didn't know, because I didn't know this right out the gate, the reason the new engine came to be is because the old one couldn't support the PvE stuff. So not only is there no reason for Overwatch 2 to exist, there's no reason for it to be on a different engine, because the reason they built it was for a game mechanic that doesn't exist anymore. God damn it.
Overhauling it feels like it was for naught. It just feels like so much wasted effort on an engine that feels like won't be fully realized. I think we'll see bits and pieces of it in the PvE content release. We'll see through the live service, through the PvP, through this new model that they're going for that is a lot more scaled down, but it won't be what we would have originally gotten. And it just sucks that the full potential of the engine itself that they made specifically for this big PvE experience won't see its full potential. Others are going down memory lane and highlighting this clip right here from 2019.
Oh, no.
When Jeff Kaplan announced his ambitions for the PvE mode by stating this.
Now, when I talk to lots of you, there's a common request that you want out of Overwatch, and Overwatch 2 is going to deliver on this. And that's for more story and for PvE, for cooperative experience.
Do you think he went back after the show and like the Blizzard like hierarchy were like, Jeff, we need to talk. Jeff, those things are not happening now. And he just quit. He's like, oh, I don't want to be part of this. Holy shit.
Experiences. Overwatch 2 will feature a ton of PvE content.
Oh.
We will have a complete story experience featuring story missions.
There's even a whole thread here on Reddit that is dedicated to discussing the announcement that the original plans for PvE would be scrapped. Over 30,000 upvotes already, and people saying things like insane considering they said that they had to make Overwatch 2 with the updated engine so they could do all of the PvE stuff, which wasn't possible in Overwatch 1. Down here, we got people making fun of the marketing surrounding this PvE mode. In 2019, we're slowing down on Overwatch 1 to bring some awesome PvE content. In 2020, oops, COVID, but all that awesome PvE stuff is internally playable right now. And then in 2021, any day now, but don't worry, the PvE stuff is great. It's coming soon. 2022, we're releasing Overwatch 2 now. The PvE will come later, so we can make it awesome. Around this time when Overwatch 2 launched,
it didn't happen, chat.
Shortly after, leadership at Blizzard knew that the PvE mode would not be happening, and yet they continued to dangle the carrot of this PvE mode that they knew would never be, all for the sake of minimizing negative PR surrounding Overwatch 2 so they can maximize sales. Just really deceptive and manipulative. And that finally brings us to 2023. PvE has been canceled.
It's not happening, guys.
Scrolling further down, people are wondering, so what makes this Overwatch 2 now that the PvE, the original...
There it is, chat. There it is. So what makes this Overwatch 2 again? The shop. There it is. That's it. That's everything we need to know. They found an infinite money glitch IRL. Guys, we need to upgrade the engine and release Overwatch as Overwatch 2 so we could put in a shop. The way you just casually announced it really fucking pisses me off. So you're telling, oh my god, so you're telling me we went through years of no content just for 5v5 and push. Oh my god, dude, these are great. 4 years waste development and nothing to show. This game has been a complete shit show. Dabra promise stuff like that is expensive to make lots of sales, make worse features worth less than funds you gained, get more money. You needed to add profit at the end. God damn, dude. Don't forget, like 5v5, push, a busted Bastion and Torbjorn.
The original promise version has been scrapped. The shop, it's a valid question, honestly. We got some new heroes and some new maps, 5v5 instead of 6v6, and overhauled monetization that is worse than the original, many would argue. And all of that is supposed to be what makes Overwatch 2 a proper sequel. They could have just updated Overwatch 1 with all of that. The only thing that separated 2 from 1 was that PvE mode. That separation no longer exists. Therefore, Overwatch 2 is just Overwatch 1. So yeah, you get the idea. There's plenty of disillusionment within the Overwatch community. And as someone who's been looking for an excuse to get back into Overwatch, not having played the game for a while and just kind of being burned out by it, the PvE really was the thing that was going to bring me back. And now, for me personally and for many others, I just feel like I have no reason to really look into Overwatch anymore. I feel like I'm just going to move on and...
See, this is the problem, chat. So I didn't base my whole coming back to Overwatch based on the PvE. I came back because the game had life again. Everyone came back for Overwatch 2 to do the PvP. And I loved that. The one thing with Overwatch 1 was that the events just died out. There was no support from the developers. And the community was gone. Community went to Valorant, PUBG, Apex, like they just left. A lot went to Warzone, I think, probably. I don't know why they'd go over there. They'll probably come back now, to be honest. But that's why I got back into Overwatch 2, was the PvP was suddenly very like lively again. It was electric. I'm worried now that the PvE stuff has come out and it's not happening, and a lot of people are pissed off that the community is going to die out again, and it's just going to be that last couple of years of Overwatch 1 now. That's my biggest worry. PvE wasn't going to save the game. It wasn't the reason I came back. Would have loved it. It would have been awesome. But I came back for the community, and I'm worried the community is gonna leave. Also, is that a Genji sword under that Goomba? He hiding all of his Overwatch merch. But yeah, I kind of wanted to put my 2 cents on that.
I just enjoy other titles that I'm more excited about.
Apex.
Don't get me wrong, I still think Overwatch is fundamentally fun. You know, the core mechanics, the core modes and whatnot, but I've had my fill with Overwatch, and I just needed something really refreshing to bring me back. And without the...
You're right, yeah. You're right. This is probably more concerning. Dude, I could not work in a room that had this. That would freak me out. All this other stuff is fine, though it does feel a little bit messy. I don't like a messy workspace. I am a slob, but I don't like a messy workspace. Like if you saw the office here, everything's neat and tidy. Everything else in the house is a mess. But yeah, I don't think I could function in here.
PvE, you know, I just feel like I don't have that reason anymore. And I feel like a lot of people might feel the same way. Now, for those who are still enjoying PvP, you know, that stuff's not going away. If anything, Blizzard is doubling down on that. So no doubt PvP enjoyers will get plenty of enjoyment, hopefully, if they, you know, actually manage to fulfill their roadmap here and actually release content at a steady pace instead of overpromising, as plenty of AAA game companies and their roadmaps do. But for plenty of others, we're genuinely excited about PvE, like myself. This is just a big letdown. It is what it is, I guess. Or at the very least, that's one man's take. Thank you for tuning in. This is what you need to know about the current state of community sentiment surrounding Overwatch after the announcement of the PVE cancellation, and what an executive producer for Overwatch 2 had to say about this whole situation and the backlash that Blizzard has.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Oh shit, chat is bad. Guys, if you want to go support Young, like obviously you probably already know him. He's quite huge, but you want to go drop a like? I'll post it in the chat. You want to go support? But yeah, let's take a look at some of these comments. The fact that they were going to do this over a year ago goes to show you how deceptive and evil Activision Blizzard is. It's not just disappointing, it's literally another scam from Blizzard. It's beyond me how anyone out there can still give them money. I mean, the Diablo Immortal stuff was huge for me. It made me, I don't even want to buy battle passes and stuff in general, but that made me think Blizzard's not the one. They're evil, little evil devils, little sinners. Just can't fathom how they are not being sued for misleading customers. It won't happen. Like, it will get dropped. It's not gonna, yeah. They can address and apologize all they want. It's possible I could have gotten over cancellation, but the fact that they knew this was the case well before launch and still advertised it, refused to acknowledge it, is completely unacceptable. Yeah, again, like they could have handled this so much better. They just, yeah. Doing it as like a passing comment in a direct is not the one. But also bad is how long Overwatch went without updates. Yeah, because they were working on Overwatch 2. Those of us who were invested, especially those who had played since alpha beta, yep. I love the game and its inception. Likely more annoyed at the years with no updates. Yep, 100%. This right here is exactly new. Is like me. The bit that pisses me off the most is that we went without content for Overwatch 1 for so long because of Overwatch 2, and there was no point. Wasted time. It hurts, man. I guarantee they will never acknowledge it again. I feel like this will stick around. This is going to lose a lot on the base, I think. Deserve all the backlash and more. No matter how many controversies happen, it will not affect their bottom line. It's sadly true. Who's going to want a 5 to 10 minute PVE mission every 9 weeks? I mean, we had that before and we were fine with it as extra content, but yeah, this is not the one. Manipulative and scummy. It's flat out criminal. There isn't enough backlash, honestly. We should be backlashing more. All right, chat. We're going to Blizzard headquarters. Get your pitchforks out. I don't know how it's not classed as a scam. Even Kickstarters get forced refunds, sued, or prosecuted for stuff like this. Yeah, Blizzard have like probably the top villain like lawyers around. To be honest, they need them. After all the shit they've been through over the last couple of years, they need to have someone on retainer that is a fucking good lawyer. It's amazing how much huge controversies a studio can have, like, every single month. Blizzard doesn't fail to disappoint. Yeah, we're getting the gist of it. People are not exactly happy with Overwatch 2 and Blizzard. But, yeah, I thought we'd follow on. I feel like we might do another video on Friday if they're going to announce some more stuff. Because I do want to follow this along and I want to be a bit more up to date. So I'm like 2 days behind, man. I'm a terrible content creator.
Big, big chungus, big chungus.